Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us and for waiting. My name is Andrea Arciniegas. I am part of YABT finance team, and today I'll be moderating today's session, which is titled Sources of Finance for Entrepreneurs with our guest speaker, Federico Arellano. He is the Executive Director of micochinito.com. First, I would like to remind everyone that this bootcamp session is taking place in the framework of TIC Americas, our program that we have created to boost entrepreneurs just like you. We are currently in the 16th edition of the competition, and this year we have three categories: the Innovation Challenge, TIC Jalisco, and the Eco Challenge. We encourage you all to register if you haven't done so in ticamericas.net, and there you will be able to access to many other resources that we have created for you, just like the bootcamp and other that will help you in the entrepreneur process. Okay, so now let me introduce our speaker, Federico Arellano. He is the Executive Director of micochinito.com. He is an entrepreneur, lawyer, and economist. And besides of being an actor, he tried to sell, in the past, he tried to sell guitars, publish a magazine, he market artwork, make legislative studies, but those things didn't work, but the experience gave him like the result of micochinito.com, that is an online piggy bank that has received more than 400 projects and reached more than 8,000 students in workshops and conferences. Federico is also the co-founder of Colmena 41, an online platform for connecting the LGBTQ+ community through networking and different events. He is a specialist in entrepreneurship for more than 9 years. He was a member in the Crowdfunding Mexico, a project from the Inter-American Bank of Development, lecturer of the World of Business Ideas in 2015, a speaker in the Web Summit in Dublin in 2014, and in Lisbon in 2016. He was the first winner of the Special Facebook Mexico Award in 2018, and he is a graduate from the Law and Schools degree from ITM in Mexico. And before giving the floor to Federico, I just want to remind everyone that you can follow us on social media. You can also send us emails, and we'll be happy to answer all your questions. You can visit our website, ybt.net or ticamericas.net. And thank you so much, Federico, for being here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, everyone who is connected here, and also on Facebook and other social networks. Is it okay? Is the audio okay? Can everyone see me fine?
Everything is fine.
Great. So let's start with this bootcamp. And this bootcamp is called Alternative Mechanisms for Finance, or as I would like to call it, the story that I would really have appreciated someone had told me before about financing an entrepreneur. So well, this is gonna be like very hands-on. I will start by telling like my own story and how like things worked out for my endeavor. As you listen to Andrea, my company's name is micochinito.com. That would be translated as my piggybank.com, because it's exactly it. It's a crowdfunding platform, just like Kickstarter, but that we specialized on first stage entrepreneurs, because we have seen that they have so many different and so many like peculiar issues to be answered by crowdfunding. So in this minutes, I will share with you a model that it's called the J model for entrepreneurs, because it's in the shape of a J, of letter J, right? And with that figure, with that shape, we will start sharing like what would be the best sources for financing, what would be the best recommended amounts, and everything that would be needed. So welcome, thank you everyone for joining. Let's see if this is helpful. I bet this will. So let's start. I will start presenting. So let me see if I can like see it in full screen. So There it is. So this is the model that we're going to talk about, like, for the whole webinar, for the whole session. It's not going to be like super complicated. It's this thing very simple. The model, it's the model of the J of the entrepreneur, and it's like quite simple. It's if you place this graph where in this axis you can shape how much money you need for your entrepreneurship, and in this axis you place the time that goes by when you start, from the moment you start with an idea until you get like big and sell it to someone or anything. um, the way that the graph will behave, it's as a J, right? So let's start what's happening in every part of this graph, of this shape. The first moment is this, the moment 0, 0. Um, it's the very first minute of the very first second that you have your entrepreneurial idea. So it's about, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna sell? What am I gonna develop? So you have no idea of anything. What's the first thing you do? Let's say you go to a coffee shop, or let's say you buy a pen and a piece of paper, right, to start writing down your ideas, or you buy a book or anything. So you start spending some money. So your money goes low, right? You start spending money, and with this very first expenditures of money, well, you have like anything to lose, anything to prove. You're just starting in this point. So the model says you're going to keep on losing money. So this part will go below 0, right? You're going to keep on losing money until something very fabulous and fantastical happens. Um, this is not that you reach your break even. As you may see, your break even is right here, and it's really not that important to be on the break even. What would really be important under this model is that on the lowest point, this is not exactly on the lowest, but if it were on the lowest point, you're going to find out, right, that you have an idea that actually works. What does it mean? So it means the following. It's well known in the entrepreneurship community that everyone says, if you think you're going to start selling blue dots, means that you're going to be selling yellow stripes, right? So nothing in the idea that you had at first is going to be as you predicted. So your product would change. You will pivot many times under a certain idea. You know, this things will happen, and it's normal. So your initial idea, the idea that you had here, when you go spending money, this idea will go transforming, right? And under those transformations, several important things are going to happen. So first of all, you need to fail fast. That would be some of like the like the like this fail fast model, right? And the second thing that it's going to happen is that you need to put the less money on risk as possible, because as I mentioned before, you're going to start failing. So you can imagine that around here you have your first pivot idea that doesn't work. Here it didn't work either. Here didn't work, didn't work, didn't work, didn't work, didn't work. And in here, when it goes below the below the lowest, right, that it starts going a little up, it means that your idea actually works. Because if money, that it's the blue line, starts going up, it means that someone actually rebuy your idea. And that's like so important, so transformational, right? It's almost like an epiphany for your business, because that will mean that your idea is actually working. In this point, it's the very first important point. So we're going to place this line. The second, I really don't care what it is. It's going to be, of course, below the break even, but it could be here, or it could be here, or it could be here, right? It doesn't matter. But it would be an important point as well. Let's see what happens from this line to here. Someone would call it when you go into the startup part of your business. What would happen? What would be the best ideas to finance your entrepreneurship, sorry, in this part of the graph? So, as I mentioned before, there are some ideas that would be really important for you guys. The first thing would be how much. The second thing would be what do I have to offer? And the third thing, right, would be to whom. When you answer these three questions, then your model will work just fine, just perfect. Let's see, in this part where you are a startup, right? So what's gonna happen? What would be like the most important things to be taken into consideration? First of all, that you are going to fail, right? Why are you going to fail? That doesn't mean you're gonna fail like in the whole story. It means that you can fail just in this particular moment, because you're gonna pivot and your idea will change and transform and transform and transform. So when you know that it's so uncertain, I have a question for you. Would you ask for money, let's say, to your father-in-law? Well, that's interesting to know, right? Because the answer would be it depends. And what would be depending on? Well, on the level of trust that you have with your father-in-law, right? Because if you promise your father-in-law to make shirts, but you end up making underwear, or you end up making yellow markers, right? So that would be something you may disappoint him, right? So you only wanna go with him. You only wanna ask for funding to him if you really trust him. That is why people think, and it's a popular saying, that startups actually get funded by friends, fools, and family. That is friends because they're loyal and you trust them. Also, the same thing happens with family. And fools, it's also an interesting expression, because it means that people who is fool enough to think that your idea will not change, that your idea will remain as pictured before. So, taking that into consideration, if we want to get it like very abstract, what would you say that people will invest in you? The answer, it's very easy and it's very simple. In this part of the graph, only people that actually trust you will invest in you, right? Because in this part of the graph, the only thing that matters when you ask for money is how much it's you as an entrepreneur, how trustworthy you are. If you seem honest, right? If you seem really passionate about your idea, if you if you're actually like eager enough to get up when adversity comes, or when you need to pivot your idea, right? um so that is very interesting. um your idea is important, yeah. I would say it's 5% of the importance, but 90% it's how they perceive you as an entrepreneur, how they perceive you as a person, right? That would be the most important thing, until you actually get your idea. If you want, we can start writing on this. So we can write in here. This is an interactive graph, right? So you can write in here that 90% it's 90% it's you, and 5% it's your idea. In this part of the graph, things are going to change, right? When when you already have a product, as I told you before, you know you have a product because someone actually rebought you, right? So if you were selling shirts, but nobody actually wanted a shirt, so on the second pivot you start selling I don't know, like this little piece, and nobody actually bought them for you. And on the third pivot you start selling markers, and people actually bought markers from you not once but twice or three times. Then that means that you have a working project, that you have a working idea, that your idea has already been validated, right? This word validation will be very important for your idea, and will be very important, of course, for your graph and your J model. So when that happened, when you have your idea validated, then things start changing. In this side of the graph, what do you think would be the most important? Let's see. How much? Why do I have to offer? And to whom? So in here, what do you think it's important to answer the three questions that I already placed on screen? Well, the things that will matter here, it's, of course, you are going to matter as an entrepreneur. Of course, your idea, it's very important, but the most important thing, it's also the slope of the graph, right? The slope would be very, very important. So your goal to answer these 3 questions: how much, what do you have to offer, and to whom, would matter because of the slope. So what is going to make you increase your slope? What is going to make your slope go deeper? So we're going to change here. And in here, of course, you are going to matter, but not that much. You probably matter like 40%. Your idea would matter, of course, a lot more. Let's say 20%. And the rest would be, the rest 40% would be something that you may have listened before, the smart money investment, right? So what is smart money investment? Smart money investment is money that can make this slope goes from here, something like this, sorry for my whistling, and to go like this. If you can go like this, that's easier, because as pronounced the slope is, as fastest you get to this point, that it's important, right? That it's your break even. So you need people to help you to reach this point as fast as possible. So what's going to make people, what's going to make everyone like invest in you and make the slope like go sharpened? Well, someone that can actually help you to sell more, right? Let's say if you're selling a clinical device, let's say you invented I don't know, something like a magic band-aid, right? That it's a band-aid that once you put it on your womb, it helps you to identify some sort of viruses or some sort of pollution into your womb. Then if you have this magical band-aids, then you may wanna attract investment for your uncle, which is a doctor, right? And which can recommend this magic band-aid to some of their patients, right? If you're doing something in the cooking business, then you may want to sell. Then you may want to attract investment from a restaurant or from someone with this type of idea, or with this type of running business. As you may have noticed before, I didn't say you need to ask for an investment fund. I didn't say you need to ask a loan for a bank. I am telling you, keep it small and think under your own community who can actually invest in you. Of course, you're very, very important, right? You're as important as the smart money. Your idea is also important, but your idea is not as important as the slope of the graph. So think about it when you're answering these 3 questions. How much? Why do I have to offer? And to whom? The third case scenario, it's this. And in here, you have already reached the break-even, right? You're way past the break-even. As I told you before, this can go here, or pretty much like anywhere below this. Of course, not here, because in here the situation is different. But when you are here, then who would you ask for money to? Of course, in here, your idea would matter more. I would say your idea will start changing. Probably in this very point, when you're just starting, your idea would matter, I don't know, it goes from 20% to 30%. In here, it probably matters 50%. In here, it probably matters 10%. So your idea will start mattering less from here to here. And what it's going to start mattering more and more and more in every situation would be the slope. And yeah, and pretty much it. And the idea that will go changing from here to here. So the slope in here, it probably means less. But when the idea means 10%, probably around here, the slope would mean 90%. In this situation, in this point of the graph, right? Of course, you can go to a bank. Of course, you can go to an investment fund. Of course, you can go to some of these like very established institutions that can actually help you to finance your company, to finance your entrepreneurship. Because when you have slope, when you can predict what is this graph going to be like in the following year, in the following month, when you have historicals, that's that's a very polemic component for us entrepreneurs, right? Like what would be a historical in our company, because in our company, including mine, things change like quite rapidly. And if you add COVID to the equation, then that happens like even with more uncertainty. So only in this part of the graph, in this part of the graph, then you can know for sure that this big companies would invest on you. In this part, you will find that smart money would be the most important, even if smart money is little, right? And in this part, of course, friends, fools, and family, for the situation that I hope that I have already shared with you. So if we are okay with this, let's go and answer our magic questionnaire. So first thing first, uncertainty. You need to consider that as entrepreneur, uncertainty would be like probably your best friend, your best pal, your roommate, your bedmate, right? You need to learn how to deal with uncertainty. In the first part of the graph, the uncertainty is about your product. Once your product is validated, uncertainty would be about how much money to ask, or how to improve the slope or whatever. And in the following parts, uncertainty actually decreases. But when this happens from this on, then you might not be considered an entrepreneur anymore, and you may be considered as a businessman probably, or I don't know what would be the name of an entrepreneur once it's already settled up, right? So these three questions, now you can answer them for every part of the graph, right? So how much, what do you have to offer in exchange, and second, who would be the best investor for you in your very own personal situation. So um let's go part from part. In the start of part of the graph, first question, how much do you think it would be ideal to ask to? The question is as less as possible. Is less as possible $1 million? Is less as possible $5? Is less as possible $10 million? Is less as possible $10,000? I don't know. You may know, but my advice would be keep it simple, 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 simple. In these times, in these post-COVID times, you don't need to actually hire a lot of people to come to work to your workplace. You don't even work. You don't even need to pay a rent for a specific workplace, right? You need to do it like in general. So the least money you can ask for would be the best for you. Because second question, what do you have to offer? In this part, you can only offer uncertainty, and you can only offer your friendship, and you can only offer like little things that come from your heart, but not from your business, right? So you need to be like very cautious about how much money to ask for, because you have very little to be in exchange. And to whom? If you have nothing to give in return, then it's to very close people of you, or to very enthusiastic friends, or like everyone who trusts you and who wants to invest in you as a person, as an entrepreneur, not as a company, right? So does this mean that Fede is telling you to not ask for money in the early stages? Is Fede telling you that if you need $2 million to actually buy a machine, or even better, to build a machine, you don't need to ask for that? That's false. You can ask for as much money as you want, or even better, as much money as you need. but it needs to be the least as possible. My advice is keep it simple. If least is 1 million, then it's 1 million. But if least is $5, then go minimal, right? Always try to go minimal, because that will help a lot to your business, because this graph is actually very helpful. If you ask for more money than what you actually need, then this graph won't go this way. This graph would go, let's see, my abilities. This graph would go like this, right? So as much money you ask for, this graph would go up like way worst. See? So that would be my first advice. And in this part, then the graph is already done. Why am I telling you this to you? Because this is what I work. This little piggy bank, that would be micochinito.com, my piggybank.com, actually works in this part of the graph, because it's especially designed to do that, to sell things on very, very early stages to very, very small amounts of money, to ask to people that actually care about you, right? So that is why I recommend to use crowdfunding, especially reward-based crowdfunding, in these stages. You can go see other websites. International ones would be, for example, Kickstarter or Indiegogo or even GoFundMe, although GoFundMe has a different profile because it's crowdfunding for social purposes. However, take into consideration this, that crowdfunding will only help you if you have, in this stage would be different, but in this stage, right, you can use websites like micochinito.com, like mypbank.com, only because this is useful to reach your friends and family and one of another fool, right? So the first closed circle would be the best circle who actually can reach you at this point. What happens on stage number 2? What happens when you scale up? When you are scaling, right? When you have your business validated, and then your slope will go higher. Our 3 magical questions. How much? What do you have to offer? And to whom? This, I love it, because the situation here is quite different. In here, it's very clear, friends, fools, and family. In here, let's go again. First question, how much? Well, in here, the important thing is you need money, you need investors to change the slope. So my advice would be ask for as much money as smart investment can actually give you. So don't be money driven in this stage, in this either, right? But in this you have a margin, and it's the least possible. In here, don't pretend it's the least possible, but try to think of it as investor driven, right? If this investor can really make your business start selling at a higher rate, at a higher level, then go with that investor. Even that investor cannot provide you with a lot of money. If it's little money, but it helps you in selling, then go with him, right? What do you have to offer in exchange? That's the second question. In this phase, offer them pretty much whatever they want. In here, you don't need to think, what do they have to offer me as investors? In this stage, think of it as what do you have to offer to them? Because if what you offer is interesting enough for them, for their own businesses or for their own purposes or for whatever they need you to improve, if you're good enough, then they are going to invest in you. And even better, if they are interested enough, then are going to actually really help you to sell more, right? So in this stage, the most important thing is who your investor is. So offer them whatever they want. Is it okay to offer them the least percentage of your company? I don't know. I would say the opposite. Try to sell them the most part of the company you want. Of course, this percentage would not be 100%. Of course, that's obvious, but probably 45%, probably 50%, probably 49%. I would do that. If you think that 30% is good enough, then do it. Of course, in the startup part of the graph, do not make a company yet. Just start prototyping, just start raising money on crowdfunding on this informal, informal procedures, right? In here, you go formal. In here, you go legal. And of course, as you're going legal, then try to make the legal mechanisms that can make your investments go in, and of course go out in the future, right? So go with a lawyer, go with someone that can actually gives you good advice on what would be the best instrument for you to attract investment. But as I told you before, go investor driven. Try to go with investor that you want, and that only rests that only leads us to the last part of the graph. So who would you think you can actually ask for money in this part? So if the only thing that matters here is the slope, then you can ask for money to investment funds, to banks, of course, to other corporations that can actually fund investments, fund entrepreneurs, right? And in here, the logic, it's completely the opposite. In here, I would recommend you to actually give them the least percentage of your company that it's possible. Of course, if it's possible not to give them anything, do not do it. I mean, do it. Don't sell them like anything. For example, a bank. If you can actually afford a loan of a bank, then take it. If the price is accurate. If it's not, if you think the price is super high in Mexico, that's not an option for entrepreneurs, because investment from banks are like impossible to get. And if you ask for loans and anything, they're very, very pricey. So go with investment fund. That would probably be the best idea, right? If you go with investment funds, then if you're on this stage, if you know the slope, if you can predict what's going to happen next, then give them the least part of your company as possible. Try to make the best deal out of it. Try to make the best deal out of the innovation, and of course, try to repay your scale-up investor if he wants to leave. If he wants to stay, then keep it, but try to pay him right, because because keeping your word and do what you promise and be transparent and be honest to everyone that invests in you, even if they're your friends or your family, or even if they're smart money investors, or even if they are larger funds, being honest to them would be the key to fund as many projects as you want, to ask for the amount of money that you actually need, right? And to feel comfortable with your business. The worst thing that can happen to an entrepreneur is to feel kidnapped in their own business, right? That they build a board of investors that do not let him participate because some of the information wasn't accurate enough, or something was not completely trustworthy. Then avoid that scenario. Be honest to them, and money will come. Funding a startup, it's not easy. It's actually very complicated. I would say it's not as complicated as actually managing the startup, right? Managing the company, but it's interesting, it's good, and there is money in the environment, and things like Young America's Business Trust, things like Take America's and Innovaction can actually help you. So that would be it. Thank you so much. Thank you for paying attention to this presentation. Thank you for my lousy English. And if you have any questions, this is the right moment to do it. So here we have some questions. Yes, Andrea.
Hi, Federico. Thank you so much for your presentation. Now we'll open the Q&A session, and I saw that we have already one question, so if you want me, I can read it to you all. Hi, Federico. I don't know if you are going to talk about it, but I would like to know about the pros and cons of some funding sources and options. Thank you.
Well, this is J.R. Mejia, or Mejia. Well, thank you for your question. Well, this depends. I mean, this webinar, the idea was to actually like take a general picture of what's going on in the different moments of your entrepreneurship, of your startup, right? But there are a lot of options for money to come. As I mentioned before, probably crowdfunding is one. of course, like direct investment, like incorporating your business and put right away in the incorporation or in the shareholders agreement the name of your investors would be the second option. The third option would be, for example, this convertible note mechanisms that can actually help you to raise money, or as I'm starting to see this this notes that can that can be negotiated in so many different terms with so many different actions. Well, what would be the pros and cons of this sources and of these options? That would depend. That would depend on what you want. If you want to keep that I cannot tell you, because I would need to know like the specific source of funding. What I would like to answer is, if you want your investors to stay in your company, then do a not so flexible instrument, right? Try to use like the direct investment, or try to incorporate them in your board and things like that. If you want to do the opposite, if you want to go and take investment money and then go and increase the size of your company and then sell it back to other individuals or to other companies, then try to make flexible instruments. My advice would be, well, try to use the mechanism that would be the best fit, taking into consideration who is investing on you, not the money, not the specific time, but who is. Because when you take that into consideration, then you can ask your lawyers what would be the most convenient. Can I go deeply on crowdfunding? Yes. Well, yeah, where can you find those mechanisms that I'm mentioning? You can find them pretty much like in every large incubator, or in every large startup consulting company. For example, the website of 500 startups, or I'm going to write it down for you, YC Combinator, Y Combinator. 500 startups, right? Those are examples of these incubators that can actually give you a lot of instruments, a lot of resources to understand what would be the different mechanisms for money to go in your company. And about crowdfunding, well, crowdfunding is this mechanism that through a website, you can upload your project, you can upload the idea of your startup. That would depend in which phase are you, if you're in a startup or if you're in a scale-up part of the graph. But you upload a project, and the crowdfunding platform will give you a link. With this link, you can share it to everyone you have, your friends on Facebook, your friends on Instagram, Twitter, all your social networks, and they will put money on that link, right? So as you were doing a collection of money for any other like cause, then that would happen, but virtually. When this happens virtually, then you have the ability to actually raise money from everywhere in the world. You're not constrained to a specific geographical like place, right? And what I think is very useful for crowdfunding, it's that you can actually like share it, and to make everyone sees what you're doing. You don't need to worry about the rights of the project. They are, of course, they are in crowdfunding. They are yours, because you only share what you want people to see. You may not want them to know like what would be the secret sauce, right? You may want to keep that for yourself, but you may want to share the audience that you're selling food, or that you're selling tacos or whatever, without selling the recipe of the sauce. When you go with different and more sophisticated investment mechanisms, the right of your projects may change. This doesn't mean that they will not be yours anymore. But this would mean that since they are yours, you actually put them in favor of the company, and in exchange of that, they give you the money. I would recommend that if the idea or this right of the project, as you call it, is you think it's very worthy, then give it for larger amounts of money. That doesn't mean that you give them to the other people. That means that you share them with your company. When the company gets divided, if by any reasons that happens, then in the shareholders agreement, in a contract that you sign before starting a business, then you may want to state very, very clear that if the company gets separated, then you keep these rights. That can all be negotiated. But yeah, that means that at some point when people gives you money, not in crowdfunding, but in regular funding, the rights of the project. Thank you.
Do you want to give a small conclusion to end this session? We will also give our attendees some survey, if you can please answer it, so we can improve our bootcamps and bring you all the resources that you need. So you can say
Thank you so much.
small conclusion if you want.
Yeah, well, the main conclusion would be, don't get overcomplicated on documents, don't get overcomplicated on mechanisms. The best funding mechanism that will be useful for you, it's that one that actually like fits your own needs. So in exchange of that confidence, then be very honest with your investors, with your family, with your colleagues on your startup. And that's the key of a successful entrepreneurship and of a successful funding route.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this J model that you show us and for all the information. We really appreciate it. The survey will, it just appear, so you can answer it, so we can better improve our next content. I just want to remind everyone to visit our websites. You can register in ticamericas.net, YABT.net, and let us know if you have any other questions. And thank you so much again for being here. Thank you again, Federico, for everything.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrea and YBT staff. Thank you so much.